I do want to talk more now about this dramatic rescue operation, because it was very dramatic, with retired US Navy commander and pilot Richard Coco. Richard, thank you for being with me. What would that rescued airman have been dealing with on the ground in those hours after ejecting behind enemy lines? It sounds crazy.
It sounds like a movie script, and it probably will be someday, but I'm sure that this aviator was very stressed, but he had to resort back to his training that he probably got early in his career. That said survival, evasion, resistance, escape. And he had to do the first two parts of that. He had to survive, first of all, the ejection. He had to survive a safe landing on the ground, and then he had to start an evasion plan. So obviously there were people out there looking for him, both from the US and from the Iranian side. So he resorted to his training. All aviators and some other forces go through that, what's called SEER training, but they do it early in their career. And how to evade, once you land, what are you going to do? They teach you, mostly you should move at night, how to get away from your equipment, but take the gear that you need, create distance, being observant. But one of the things is you had this training very early in your career. I went through it as a pilot in the Navy, and it was a tough training. It's a tough class. And one of the things is you're sitting in the auditorium at the end of the class, and the instructors are debriefing you and talking to you. And they're saying, you went through this, you survived this, you learned a lot. But one of the important things is you have to remember this. So, and this, if there's a colonel, it's been many years since he probably went through that training, but he had to be able to recall that training, put that training to use. He did. And then the amazing efforts by the US forces, and his life was saved. That had to be a harrowing couple of days on the ground there.
As you say, this moment really is being celebrated as like a big, massive American moment. At what point do you think we're going to hear more about who this member is?
I think he's got to go through what's called an integration process. That's part of the entire phase. They'll bring him back. He'll be medically checked out. We read some, that he may have had some severe wounds. So obviously that has to be taken care of first. The U.S. will probably, let us hear a little bit about the person and what happened, but there's operational security needs that are there, as well as not giving up anything, because there's attack packages going on every day over there. So they don't want to give up the efforts and the techniques that the U.S. uses, especially these U.S. Air Force PJs, as I'm sure the Colonel referenced before, of some very, very highly trained forces, a very small group of men and women in the Air Force that are trained to do this very specific, very dangerous mission. You heard that they said they dedicated hundreds of people to go out to rescue one person. There's not a lot of countries that would be willing to do that, but the U.S. is. We don't leave a person behind. And this is a fantastic ending. And we saw the president say that they were tracking him from the moment he ejected. That's what happens. Even the seat that he ejects in has a locator. So, and plus there were AWACS airplanes in the air. They knew where he was. And then when he lands, he carries a combat radio that has a GPS on it, secure texting, communications. So they knew where he was. Obviously, they couldn't make that announcement to the public. But what the forces did, what the combat search and rescue team did is very, very impressive.
Can I also ask about what you think happened while he was on the ground and trying to avoid capture? What do you think was going on there?
Well, part of his pre-flight brief, attack brief, would include this. What happens if you get shot down? Depending on where their mission was, a simple thing of, where the enemy might be. What direction would you start moving, away from any hazards? And you have to have that in your mind. It can change the moment you hit the ground, because things may be very different. You may not be in the position you are, but you want to have that first idea of what you're going to do. The parachute deploys, your beacon goes off, you land, you detach from your parachute, the coke fittings, get out of there, and then which way do you want to run first? But again, they train you mostly to move at night. You're much easier to spot during the day. We know he was in the mountains. That's very difficult terrain, and it sounds like he was able to get away from the aircraft seat and anything else, and find a place to lay low while he obviously followed a communications plan. You wouldn't sit there with your radio on 24 hours a day and risk the enemy possibly picking up signals. There's a radio plan, a communications plan. You may maybe on a quarter hour, half hour, every 2 hours, where you're reaching out. And then you get information from that combat search and rescue team what direction to move. But you have to look at how big this package was. This would have been satellites, aircraft, signals intelligence, maybe people on the ground that are helping. All kinds of information and intelligence is going into that command center, and that provides information to that downed airman and this amazing ending to this story.
And it is very, very amazing. We'll leave it there for now. Richard Kolko, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, still to come.